Go.
Okay. Sarah, when the Substack stream comes up, can you?
Oh, let me take a look.
I am watching for it.
Okay, watching for it.
You got somebody else watching YouTube?
I am watching the YouTube stream.
We have Substack.
Okay.
Yes, we do.
Okay, so there's Substack. And we already have people populating Substack, so that's usually a pretty good sign. Let me just shore up my windows here a little bit, make sure I have everything before we get started with today's loveliness. Okay. Going to be a little bit of an echo there. Okay. So I will attempt to moderate the YouTube channel. We'll see. We'll see how that goes.
May the odds be ever in your favor.
Yes. May the odds.
Yeah, we got some real jokers last time.
Right. All right. Well, today I blended some topic generalization, and so to start off, I'm just going to do this introduction, and me speaking personally about myself. Survival and life changes, trauma, survival, day-to-day living, whatever. When I was a kid, I was not built for the life that I got built. A lot of us feel that way. And so for me personally, I've been cobbling together everything that I can from salvaged parts of one area of my life versus another. And so I've really probably been doing that entirely out of self-directed spite. But self-compassion is still a practice that, for me personally, I still have to do that at 2 o'clock in the fucking morning when I grab my phone and I'm doom scrolling and, I'm trans. Am I going to be arrested today as a domestic terrorist? It's possible. And so what I find when I do that analysis, I have rituals. We all do. And my ritual list, I sort of picked out the ritual list from things that I do that I feel like everybody in this session would have comments about. And so one of them is bookstores. I have a bookstore ritual and I love it. I literally go to the bookstore to smell paper. Open the book, smell the pages. Oh, okay.
So do I. Yeah, definitely. I'm a book sniffer.
Right. So with that, I'll just go right into it. And so your inner critic, that internal voice that you listen to, and that's the voice that says you're too much, you're too loud, you're too queer, you're not woman enough, whatever. And I listen to that voice closely because as a trans woman, I worry that's the voice of my mother. And her disappointment wrapped up in something else. Or, my ex's contempt dressed up as concern. And that syntax gives it away. Those aren't my words. That's shame that I swallowed whole at 14 when, I first became self-aware that I was different. And so then I internalized that from every sideways glance in public, every time someone said, just be normal, don't be that way. And that cruelty has genealogy. So you walk around with other people's fear lodged inside yourself, and you try to call it self-awareness, but that's not what the fuck it is. And so what we have to do is we have to consciously study how to be tender to ourselves as much as we would be tender to other people until it becomes a habit. And so what I do when my internal critic goes off is I watch that language. Whose voice is that really? Is it my third grade teacher in primary? Is it my first partner who couldn't handle my truth? Then I have to reparent that voice. So when the critic speaks, I have to say, nobody talks to me that way. And I have to build a counter narrative, with strength that I would use to protect someone else that I love or someone else that I care about, because I would totally do that for other people. I just don't do it for myself. And so what I realize is that while the voice won't disappear, I can build a counter narrative to, understand what the voice is and interpret what the voice is telling me without taking the criticism. And so now I'm going to pass it to this person.
Oh, yay. I mean, I've done a lot of thinking about internal dialogue, but you're talking about specifically internal critic.
If you want to talk about internal dialogue, do it.
No, not really.
No, I think that's bullshit, because I know you wrote a story about it.
Yeah. Yeah, I did. Several, actually. I mean, so yes, I do have the internal dialogue, the negative internal dialogue, the positive internal dialogue, and then neutral and whatever else. I can't really say that I attribute a specific voice to the negative. Sure, the words they belong to somebody that's not me. I think the first instance that I can remember of not it being internal dialogue, but where it would come from would be from my dad. Just that stupid song that he came up with about me being too serious. And that's, yeah, a lot of it is, just being too much this, too much that. And it usually has to do with some kind of emotional thing, because it was always, you have to look at things logically. You can't be emotional. You need to look at things logically. Otherwise, you're going to get caught up in whatever. And so for the longest time, it's just been about, pushing down the emotions, not allowing myself to feel them, just, processing life and just trying to get through it rather than experiencing it or enjoying it. And I think that's all I'm going to say on internal dialogue.
Oh no, it's me. So yeah, for me it's my dad, it's my grandpa who disowned me whenever I came out as trans. Growing up, there was a lot of here are your expectations of what being a man is, and none of that ever felt right. And anytime I showed any sort of softness, it was stop acting like a girl, man up, all those sorts of things. And now I don't have um, those as part of my inner dialogue as much, but it's more like those are the things that um, people like transphobic people say to me now, and then that like sometimes triggers something from childhood. Um, so I just try to take breaks as I need to, and also remind myself that um, like no one knows who I am better than I do. They don't get to define who I am. So
You raise me up.
Brandon, if you're going to start singing hymns, you need to warn everybody.
you have to
It's
tell
not
us
a
where to
hymn.
turn in the hymnal.
No, that's not a hymn.
It's a her. Now, I was. Well, speaking of hymns, part of my internal dialogue, I think, comes from the church, and I think Miranda can relate to this, like not wanting to display my talents or show that I was good at something, because there's always that verse you come back to, pride goeth before the fall. You're not supposed to be proud of yourself for anything, because that leads to arrogance and evil. And I agree with part of that. I mean, I don't like when people brag about themselves a lot, but I know there's pride is kind of an interesting word. I've always had a kind of an issue with that, as far as the Pride Month and LGBTQ plus. Because I always equate pride with accomplishments, and I don't feel like being gay is an accomplishment. I didn't do anything. I'm just the way I am, and I'm not necessarily proud of being gay. I'm happy with it, and that's just the way I am. But I don't feel like I accomplished anything to achieve it. And that may not be what some people think of as proud, as far as accomplishments. It may just be that they're just like what I said, being happy with who they are, and they use that as their definition of pride. But it probably goes back to the church and what I was taught about pride being. It was always kind of looked at as a negative thing to be proud. But that's some of where my internal dialogue comes from. It's not necessarily I don't know if it's a voice, but I see it in written script. And sometimes it is a voice. It may be the voice of my dad or my mom, or maybe even the lack of a voice. If I do something that I'm proud of, or that I something some kind of accomplishment, there's nobody, there's no voice to back that up and to say that you did well or whatever, because that's what happened when I was younger. There wasn't a voice that said good job, well done, I support you in this. So sometimes, yeah, I think it's silence that's the inner critic.
Well, I'm just going to interject that on the point that you made, because I wanted to point this out, is, you know, the effort to be trans, or the effort to be gay, or the effort to be whatever it is. You know, someone asked me recently today, do you not just um, do you not just call yourself a woman? And I said, yes, I do. And so, you know, it's a lot less about identity necessarily, even though dysphoria and dysmorphia fuck all that up, or any more than orientation. When you walk outside, Brandon, people don't look at you and go, that guy's gay.
Not usually, no.
No. So I live in, and so that's one of the things you have to tell your internal critic. Don't fucking say that to me. I don't give a shit. I didn't mean to interrupt you. I just wanted to point that out.
Oh no, you're fine. And part of the pride may come in the act of coming out too, that you're proud of yourself for being yourself when you have been suppressing that for so long. Not necessarily the fact that you are who you are, but that you have I don't know, I'm not sure what I'm looking for, but achieved a higher sense of self, maybe. And that may be where the pride comes in. Proud of myself for achieving that level.
I would agree with that. All right.
Internal dialogue. So yes, I've had internal dialogue for most of my life. I've told people this before, but I've taught a class in my head for over 2 decades. I think that's probably because in school I did not do as well as I thought I should. So I overcompensated by teaching, so on and so forth. It's part of my executive dysfunction that I was never able to get as far as I wanted to in school. As far as pride, yeah, I had a lot of pride in discovering who I was and coming out and you know, fighting against the prejudice and injustice that I found within the world outside and within my world inside. So I was outed by a family therapist. And so it didn't really give me a chance to work out a way to come out to Egg. But I came out to my parents and we didn't talk for 2 years. So I kind of figured that was going to happen. I was prepared for it. Egg was prepared for it, and we just let it go, you know. But I did have pride in coming out, and I always had pride in understanding who I was. It's a big part of my life, a big part of my identity. Um, you know, the internal dialogue is still there. It wasn't solved by coming out and um, being honest and open with the world, but it did solve the teaching problem. Now I still have a dialogue in my head that continues on throughout the day and throughout the night until I'm asleep or until I'm surrounded by chaos. And in that chaos, I become calm, and my voice is my internal monologue. My internal voice is a little bit quietened. But yeah.
talking in the mute again. I think that going into that narrative about the internal critic forces us to examine the concept of self-compassion. And I want to be very clear that Cosmopolitan and Red Book and the Hallmark Channel and all of those other things sell the lie that self-compassion means scented candles, bubble baths, and gentle yoga bullshit that keeps you compliant. That's not true. It's a fucking lie. Self-compassion is rage work, and it isn't soft. Because while you're doing all the yoga mat bullshit with the scented candles and the soft Will Ackerman music in the background, and you're drinking green tea. I'm not picking on you, Miranda, when I say this. You sit there and you're bleeding out from the internalized oppression and calling it you're being hard on yourself. That's bullshit. Self-compassion isn't about being nicer to yourself. It's about refusing to do the people who are oppressing you their work for them. So every time you minimize your pain, every time you dismiss your needs, every time you accept less than you deserve, you're saving the people who are trying to oppress you the effort of grinding you into dust, which is what they're going to do anyway. And so what we have to do, caring for myself is not a self-indulgence. It's self-preservation. And this is an act of damn near political warfare. The practice, so it forces you to, I have to do this. I have to practice friend voice translation. So when I catch myself in a self-attack, and I do this all the fucking time, people who have talked to me and been around me, I'm like, I'm shit, I'm sorry, it sucks, I fucked up, I'm a bad person, whatever. I have to stop myself, and then I ask, what would I say if my best friend told me the same story about themselves? Not toxic positivity, bullshit, genuine compassion that acknowledges the wound and refuses to make it bigger. If my friend came to me and said, I lost my job, I wouldn't say, you're worthless, you're a piece of shit, they fired you, and that's what should have happened. I would say that's devastating. And also, capitalism is a hellscape designed to extract and discard everything that it doesn't give a shit about. And I'm sorry that you had to experience that. And what can I do as a person to support you? That's what I would say to my friend. What self-compassion teaches you is you have to say that to yourself. This morning I had an occasion where my life partner was telling me, I went into this space where I was, I functioned, and this space was a very crypto currency, NFT, it was a very cool place to be. And she told me, she says, I went in there and it's all fucking right-wing nut jobs that think that trans people are the devil and all of this shit. I said to her, oh my God, well, what did you do? She's like, I left that Discord. That's gone now. And I told her, I was like, look, that was once a positive space for you, and now it's not. And I'm sorry that you had to experience that. And I'm sorry that you had to leave that behind. And what can I do to support you? You should say the same thing to yourselves, each of you.
Well, self-compassion, I think, kind of goes. It's similar, I think, to what I was talking about with pride, as far as being taught in the church, well, I mean, I guess there's love your neighbor as yourself. So I guess you are supposed to love yourself, but not too much. Yeah, it is difficult to have self-compassion, especially when you don't feel love from others who are supposed to love you. Your parents and your family, they're you would assume that they would love you, or they're supposed to. And yet if you don't receive that growing up, or if you do something that goes against their beliefs, it becomes conditional love. And so I think you kind of learn to love yourself conditionally. I will love myself if I can achieve this or do this, or I can be this way. I can be a better version of myself. But until then, I'll like myself at best. Yeah.
Yeah, the church thing. So the like loving your neighbor thing, the church is always trying to create narrow definitions of who your neighbor is, and it's very much dependent on all of the like socioeconomic factors, but also how you behave according to their rules. So, when I was growing up in the Southern Baptist Church, I didn't really fit in with the other boys. And so they bullied me for it, even at church. And, because I wasn't meeting the social expectations, I was blamed for my own bullying. If you did this, that wouldn't happen to you. If you did that, that wouldn't happen to you. And so it's hard to get to a point where you can say I don't deserve that treatment, or I don't have to follow those rules.
Because I need to unmute. Self-compassion. I mean, for me, that has a lot of times been just allowing myself to process emotions rather than not allowing myself to feel them. And a lot of times that ends up looking, because of how much it's been just pushed down, it ends up coming out as rage, and I allow myself to go out in the yard and throw cinder blocks around. Although not so much anymore because they're all in use. But I mean, I've got a fire pit, so I split wood and whatever, just to try to get that, basically turn the emotions into energy and process them that way. But also it's, taking the time to acknowledge the fact that I have these feelings, and that that it's okay that I have them. Sometimes it looks like, you know, watching something sad intentionally to make it so that I can get those like bluer emotions out. I can't say that I've had to do that real recently, but I feel like in the past 2 years there's been more crying than I've done in my entire life just because of the amount of loss. So that has kind of tuned me back into being able to allow myself to feel emotions.
Emotions are hard. I don't care what anyone tells you.
Oh, yeah, they are.
Emotions
Yeah, because I was told not to express certain emotions for a long time. It was really hard to get to a point where I could access those honestly, and they didn't either like get suppressed or go to the other extreme of just like totally taking over.
Oh no, I was a person that regularly experienced the be a man and kill shit and drive fast cars and don't show any emotions and be stoic as fuck and beat your girlfriend, all that bullshit. And it's like, oh, it's
Yeah, I mean,
exhausting.
I was expected to be feminine, but also be logical. Like, yeah.
Not that pragmatism necessarily does or does not require femininity, but I mean, if you're pragmatic, I have a pragmatic kid. You know, they're fluid, so there's no gender there. Why does pragmatism give a shit about gender? I really don't know. Onyx?
Um, conditional love, yeah. So everyone in my family is pretty learned in terms of degrees, college, higher education, um, names, like doctors, lawyers, all of this good stuff. I felt that pain when I couldn't get past like year 2 of college. You know, it was a conditional love type of feeling, and that my parents were like, why can't you do this? My sisters kind of looked at me strange, you know, because they had gone on to achieve so much. Um, i uh, it was that's hard, and it still is hard today, because I look at my extended family, and I look at my parents, and I look at my sisters who have achieved so much, and I'm just sitting here, um, achieving in my own way, but not like on the world's big stage. um, you know, it feels it like, yeah, I can't get into that, but I'm gonna stop there.
That's okay, Onyx. It's okay to stop right there. Oh, look at that. Someone in the chat said Down syndrome meeting. Oh, somebody's going to get a timeout.
Down syndrome.
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah.
Do they? That doesn't even make sense.
I know. Eileen, did you get him? Because I didn't get him. Anyway, so all right. So for a bit of practicality, we all agree that you carry around shit daily to make yourself feel stable. So, as an exercise for today, I demand everybody open their purse and show, or their carry bag, and show like the 4 things that they carry with them wherever they go. And I'll go first because it's kind of funny. So I carry my fidget pin. I cannot go anywhere without my fidget pen. My fidget pen, like when I get like nervousy and shit, my fidget pen, it's in my hand and it's doing shit. And then all my nervous anxiety energy goes away. And then I keep my earbud case with my cool earbuds in it. I'm a responsible diabetic, so I carry around a diabetic testing kit. That goes with me wherever the fuck I go. And then I carry this little tin of beeswax that somebody gave me because I'm older. And so I experience muscle aches and pains all the fucking time. And so that's what's in my purse, because wherever I go, those have to go with me at a bare minimum. So, who wants to go next? Oh, okay, Onyx. Here we go.
Okay.
I definitely want to see what's in Onyx's purse.
So, since surgery, I've been carrying this little pocket mirror. It opens up. It's got a peacock on it. And I am Ifa. I am an Ian Ifa. And a peacock means a lot to me. On my desk right now, I am counting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 lip glosses by Rihanna Fenty. I carry at least 2 of them all the time. A little zip drive type of thing, so I can download any kind of information I need. Yeah, and my wallet, of course, Basquiat. I'll hide the card number, but it's a Basquiat wallet. Yeah, those are what I carry. The lip glosses, though, like, it's kind of insane. I have a big problem with that. I love them, but you know, I spend like way too much money on lip gloss and lipstick. Yeah.
Okay, lip products. Lip products. Lip
Yes.
products. Lip products. Lip products. So all of those are in my purse right now. So it's one of those things that when I'm feeling dysphoric, if I can step away and like reapply my lip products, that just brings me up. And also my lips get dry, and I live in an arid place, so lots of these are like super moisturizing. Let's see, I walk a lot of places, so you gotta, if you're a woman who walks a lot of places, you have to have protection. Carry this pocket knife. Before I transitioned, I was
Dangerous.
Oh yeah, well, 2-inch pocket knife, so dangerous. So before I transitioned, like, I was the Boy Scout who always carried a pocket knife, and that was something that, like, it was nice to have that tool around, and so, you know, now it's a purse item. This is something my wife got me. It kind of jingles. I don't know if you can hear that.
Oh.
So it just sits in my purse, and whenever I walk, just like the motion of my purse moving will make that sound, and it's really comforting. And then I always have butterfly hair clip clipped to the strap of my purse, just in case I need it. But the way that I carry it, like, because it's external to my purse, a lot of people comment on it. So, you know, it's a big hit. Yeah, those are things that I carry.
I don't exactly carry a purse. I pretty much carry a backpack with me everywhere I go.
Yeah, but there's
so
shit in the backpack, and I want to know what it is.
well, it depends on what I'm doing. Like today I went to work, so I've got my work bag. Completely different regimen of things because there's some things I can't take to work. Like if I'm traveling, I've got my big knife. If I'm at work, I have my pocket knife.
That's a nice knife.
But like, headphones, obviously, especially if I'm at work. In my work bag are my compression gloves. Those are a necessity. Notebook. That goes in whatever bag. It doesn't matter.
The notebook always goes in whatever bag it is.
Yeah. No,
Yeah,
that and my planner gets switched between bags all the time. Cough drops. And somewhere in here is a similar tin of muscle rub.
Where do you get that stuff from?
Where do I get it from?
Yes.
I manufacture it in my basement. But I also always have some kind of a power bank. So the one that I keep in my work bag is it doubles as a fan.
Nice.
And a flashlight. If it'll
Oh,
Whoa, that was blinding.
yeah.
yes, it was.
So it's a power bank, a fan, and a flashlight, and I keep that in my bag.
Can I just jump in really quick? There's one thing I carry in my purse, but I don't carry my purse a lot, and that is a stone, lepidolite. Yeah, go ahead.
I mean,
No, finish. I just was prepping Brandon to.
No, oh no, that's it. I carry stones, crystals, and the one that I carry all the time is lepidolite because it is a mood stone for me. It's called the spiritual stone. Also has some lithium in it, so it's calming. And with bipolar disorder, I want to try and stay as calm as possible. But yeah, go ahead, Brandon. Sorry.
Well, mine's I'm pretty boring because I don't carry a bag, but I just carry my wallet, my phone, and my keys basically. In my car, in my little console, I've got a bunch of junk, phone charger and lip gloss.
Hey, lip gloss.
Hey.
Glossotopia. And a pair of reading glasses, and I don't even remember what else is in there. Just a bunch of junk that I probably don't need, but I always think there'll be an occasion where I might need to dig in there and get something. But yeah, I don't usually. Me and my friend had this conversation. She carries a purse, of course, and she just can't understand how guys can just go, without stuff.
because guys have bigger pockets.
There we go. Yeah.
Yeah, she's like, "Oh, and how does your wallet not fall out?" And I'm like, I don't know. It's like a tight pocket. It just stays there. It doesn't. I've never had a wallet fall out of my pocket. I don't know.
My dress has.
Yeah, that was the worst part of my transition was going to clothes that didn't have pockets anymore.
Oh yeah, I've heard that.
So I buy dresses now that have pockets for a fucking reason.
Yes. Yes.
I used to have a pair of jeans that I could fit an entire bottle of water in the pocket, and they were women's jeans.
Wow.
Gosh, I can't imagine. Okay, well, the last thing that I had for today was the ritual, because I did this ritual recently. And that's secondhand bookstores. Now, we're all writers or content creators or whatever, and so that's why I felt comfortable talking about it. And so, in my locale, there's like this cheap used bookstore or whatever. And so when you look at the place from the outside, it looks like a cheap used bookstore. But the lady that works in there is really, really nice. Every time I walk in there, she's really cool. And she always like, oh, I got a bunch of stuff in that you might be interested in or whatever. And so, but every time I do that, I'm in there just running my fingers across cracked spines, and the smell of decaying paper is intoxicating. And the whole reason I go in there is to find like the one thing that might be related to something on my reading list that I've never touched before, and I'm going to read it. The last time that I was in there was some random manga that I read like 30 years ago, and they had a used copy of it. And then Barlow's Guide. If you're a science fiction reader, you know about Barlow's Guide to Extraterrestrials, and they had a copy of that, which that book has been out of print for fucking ever. And so when you find a copy of it, it's totally worth it to pick one up. And so you practice the skill of ritually going. The subject matter of discussion is ritually going somewhere. It doesn't have to be a bookstore, but there's a reason you go to that place because of the emotions that it elicits. And so like Baldwin says, not everything that is faced can be changed, but nothing can be changed until it's faced. And so,
Ooh, love that.
This is more a discussion about just comforting ritual behavior. And so I ask myself every day, what am I looking for when I go into the store? I went to Powell's in Portland one time, and I swear I didn't come out for a week.
No.
I haven't been there, but I know that place is huge.
Yeah. So here's the thing about Powell's. Powell's is in downtown Portland, and basically what they did was they bought a 4-floor office building, cleared out all of the furniture on all 4 floors, put in some stairs, and then turned it into the largest bookstore, in my opinion, largest bookstore in the U.S.
You need to come see John K. King.
Or Strand.
I don't know. Powell's has a reputation.
So does King.
So does the Strand.
Well, yeah, that's true. But nobody talks about that. Nobody talks about that reputation. You go all the way to the top floor, and there's a museum up there. Like, they have a signed copy of the Tennessee Williams book, and shit like that. And so that's like, if you're a writer, that's like a cultural mecca. You should go to Powell's or whatever. And so yeah, that's. I'm going to let Miranda talk now, because this is a Miranda. I'm sure this is a Miranda-worthy discussion.
Yeah, so agreed with that, like, lovely smell. It's but yeah, I have a few bookstores, used bookstores and new bookstores that I like to go to. And for me, like, I have a reading list. I have a mental reading list of things I want, or authors that I would like to check out. But I never go with a list. I always just like walk in and just browse and let the books tell me what I'm getting. There are a few like sections that I'll focus on. I love old novels, especially ones written by women. obviously the poet is going to check out the poetry section, and so many bookstores have, like just this one tiny ass little shelf for poetry, and that's a shame. But there's some wonderful used bookstores where, they've gotten a lot of that in, and it's a more expansive selection. Um, I look at um, books on different like um, spiritual traditions and theologies and stuff like that. Because even though I've stepped away from um, the practice of some of those things, it's still a really interesting topic to me. Um, and yeah, so I just go in and spend some time with the books until something pops out and demands to take my money from me.
It demands to take your money away from you. I find that.
Well, in 2020, a lot of bookstores shut down, and some of them went completely out of business. Some were able to open up later, but a lot of I can't think of, there are a couple of names of some bookstores that have, I can't remember. There was one I remember, it was a pretty popular one, and it completely went out of business, at least physical stores. There are some Barnes and Nobles that have shut down, but even after restrictions were lifted in for COVID, I started writing on Medium, and I was reading so many articles of other people trying to reciprocate engagement and things like that. And that was most of what I read. I very rarely read books anymore after that, because I was reading so many articles. And then on Substack as well, I've read quite a bit. And I hardly ever go into bookstores anymore. There aren't any around where I live, so I would have to travel a little ways to actually find a specifically a bookstore.
There's something about there's two phenomena: the coffee shop and the bookstore. And if you're lucky enough, there's one that's both of those that's nearby.
Yeah.
I'm at the coffee shop right now.
Yeah. And so, from a ritual, like, would you go to a coffee house, Brandon?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. That's the same comfort ritual that I think I was really sort of trying to drive at, is that, there are things you do that make you feel good.
Yeah, I do like exploring different coffee shops, especially ones that aren't part of a chain. I do like Starbucks sometimes, but I prefer to visit independently owned coffee shops.
Yeah, an independent cafe, not corporate bucks.
Yeah.
Like the coffee shop that Miranda is in, which, by the way, I have been in with her before.
Yeah, and it's just about half a mile from our place, and so I almost always walk over here, and that's part of the ritual too. Is the walk, and the people I'll see along the way, and then when I leave, I'll get if my wife is having a work from home day like she is today, I'll get her a drink on my way out, and so it's all part of the thing.
Oh, yay. I
I
remember
love
when I
having
was
super cow powers. That means I can shift people around and I don't have to say anything. It's so much easier.
So I remember when I was a kid, there was a Borders books, and that was one of those places that had the 2-in-1. Like you had the coffee shop and you had the books, and
That's one of them. I was trying to think of that because I think they pretty much have gone out, haven't they? As
I
far as
think
physical-
so.
Yeah, they're gone. I worked there.
Yeah.
No.
So even after they had closed down the one that was local to me, there was still one in Ann Arbor, and that one was a double decker, and I was very impressed the first time I got to go there. But eventually they all closed down, and we still had. So we've got, not anymore, but there was a little bookstore, even more local than Borders was. It was called the Little Professor. And I remember going in there when I was even younger than when I went to Borders, and I would like buy comic books and stuff. And my mom was always going in there to get my dad's newspaper, and so it was a weekly ritual. But I going more than going to bookstores, it was every day after school going to the library with my friends. And we would go there because we didn't really have any place else to go. We couldn't go to anybody's house because, everybody's parents had either stuff going on or were working late, so that there was no supervision. And granted, like we still weren't having any supervision at the library really. But it was there that I realized that the smell of books has a weird physiological reaction. Like I have a weird reaction to the smell of books, and I thought it was just books in general. But then when I went to like new bookstores, it doesn't happen. So it's like just older books and the combination of the smell of the decaying glue maybe and the dust. And it was really bad when I went to John K. King. That one's at least a 4-story bookstore. They do have a freight elevator that you can use if you are have mobility challenges. And then they also have like art and stuff in there. And my child has expressed an interest in getting some of their artwork hung up in there for sale. But yeah, the smell of books kind of makes me need to use the bathroom to not put too fine of a point on it.
Okay.
I don't know.
Smell of books inspires you to pee. Is that
No.
okay?
No, to poop.
Oh,
I'll just say this. I'll say the silent part out loud.
Thank you.
so what you're really telling me is
The books are like, go sit down and read me.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
Maybe that's it, because like there was always books in our bathroom when I was growing up, so maybe that's it.
So what you're really telling me is when you go to a bookstore, shit happens.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely.
Shit happens. By the way, before I take you out of the spotlight, I just want to point out, by the way, Powell's blows the doors off of J.K. King.
I guess I'd have to see it for myself.
So Powell's is 69,000 square feet, and
Nice.
and then versus J.K. King's, which is 60,000 square feet. So you know what? Powell's is the bitch.
Yeah, but there's more than one location for King.
Well, we're just talking about a single chain. So, all right, Onyx, I'm gonna let you finish it up today.
Okay. Books. Yeah, I am a avowed book lover. I've worked in many bookstores, many different bookstores for many years. Like most of y'all, the smell of books is an aphrodisiac for me. Like Miranda, I usually head straight to the poetry section first in any bookstore. Secondly, I head to the occult section. As a matter of fact, as I'm looking over here, I have a rather large occult book collection. working in bookstores brings me peace, not the actual managing of bookstores, but more just working. I love customer service. I love help. I love books, and I love helping customers find great books that will suit their reading pleasures. um, I never did achieve much in the way of academics, but I know books. And I know that I love books, and I know that I love poetry, and I know that I don't love coffee, so I don't drink coffee with my books, but I do drink tea, and I will have tea with my books. So I do like the coffee house bookstore combination. Um, I've been to the Strand, which for me is the largest bookstore I've ever been to in New York City. And I was lucky to get out with under $400 worth of books. Um, it was the Strand was amazing. My dream is to go to Powell's. My dream is to own that Tennessee Williams book. Um, I have one really rare, expensive book that I won't say online, because I don't want people to be fucking around with me. But it is very expensive and very rare, and it is wonderful. It is my treasure, and I don't have children, so I don't know who I'm going to pass it to. Although I have told Egg, I have told Egg, if I die, she can,
That's what I was gonna do. Hey.
Egg knows where it is. She's the only one who knows where it is, except for me. But yeah, I just have this relationship with bookstores that can't be underestimated. It's formed me. Um, Words have formed me. Language, linguistics, all of that have formed me. Um, and but like Brandon said, also I've been reading a lot of articles, and that is and reading a lot of stuff online, and that is kind of taking the place of me reading books. Also, because my eyes suck, so I can't see the small writing. So reading online is a lot better for me. I can enlarge the font, and so yeah, that's my. I love books. I wish I could read them again, but I am an avid book collector. I've got a lot of books. I will continue to collect books, even the ones I can't read. Um, I don't know, Wendy, do you remember Chapter 11 in Atlanta?
Oh God, yeah, of course.
Okay, yeah. I
Oh,
worked
yeah,
there
of
for
course.
like 5 years.
I want to say, I remember Oxford Books on Far Road
Yes,
in
yes.
Buckhead, which
Okay,
was
hold on.
Atlanta's. Yeah, that was Atlanta's Powell's.
Let's see if
So,
this book right
oh
here
yeah,
is a book. This is a book of poetry. It's a first edition. It's called "Women Who Run Hoping for Rain and Other Poems" by David Tillinghast. And I got this at Oxford Books on Far Road. Yeah, one
yeah,
night I was
yeah.
just
Who
in
could
there by
forget?
myself.
Oxford Books was here in Atlanta, and it was dead in the middle of Buckhead, which is like the well-to-do area of North Atlanta, and it it wasn't like multi-floor or whatever, but it was just this building that they kept adding on to, like horizontally. It kept getting
But
bigger and bigger.
it was
And
an
then
octagon.
there was this big like walking circular sort of deal or whatever, and they served coffee, and it was great. And when you went there, they had a queer section, and when you went into the queer section, there were
Yes.
other queer people that you knew were queer people because they were in the queer section, and it was, oh my God, yeah,
Right. Loved that bookstore. Loved
yeah,
it.
yeah. Ugh, memories. So I'll just I'll do a close here. So what this draws attention to, from a psychological perspective, as much from a living perspective, anything else, you've been building something, a life that they don't have words for yet, and that's the life that doesn't apologize for the seams that it has, and it doesn't hide the repairs. And every time you choose yourself when the world says choose smaller and you don't, you just say, fuck you, and throw another brick down, throw some mortar on it, throw another brick on top of it. That isn't about fixing what's broken. That's about recognizing that what you've constructed from necessity and defiance is essentially beautiful architecture. And that's a hard thing to see when the internal critic is going off and you're not practicing self-compassion and you're not doing the things that you want to do that make you feel at ease and not ridden by anxiety. And so what I say to people in regards to that is stop waiting for permission to call it whatever the fuck it is that you want to call it. Your home, your safe space, whatever. The foundation that you pour in that darkness is setting, and it's not going to go anywhere. And so what you really should do is just stand on it and then continue to build that thing that casts others, shadows that others can shelter in. Because honestly, at this point, I have no idea. A year from now, am I going to be labeled a domestic terrorist? Is fucking Trump going to send stormtroopers to my house to arrest me? I have no fucking idea. None. But I said this in another session. The National Genocide Analysis Board or whatever says that America is literally on the cliff of transgender genocide. That's scary from my perspective, as much as that would be scary from anybody else's perspective, because once they're through with me, who the fuck do you think they're going to go after next?
There we go. Let me ask you this, Wendy. Have you seen V for Vendetta? Have any
I
of
love
y'all?
that. Oh, if nobody has ever watched that movie, you should watch that movie.
Okay, when Natalie Portman's character says, I'm ready to go to the woodshed or go to the back, I'm ready to be, essentially, she had gained the strength to say, I'm ready to face these demons head on. You can shoot me and kill me, but you will not take my spirit. That's how I feel now about these fuckers trying to come and snatch me off the streets. I'm ready, if you sometimes
I'm sorry to have to say this, but from my perspective, I no longer care, because the worst thing that can happen to me is I could get shot in the face.
Right.
And that would be bad, but I don't fucking care. I literally just don't care. You're going to do that? I can't control what you do. Fine.
Right.
Fine. But I'm not going to stop living because you say that I should.
And we shouldn't stop speaking out either.
No.
We should continue.
I'm definitely not going to do that. Definitely not going to do that. I'm not going to.
I'm on their list. They may as well highlight my name too.
Right. Just use a lot of bright light highlighter.
Yeah. Can I get a pink highlighter for that, please? I would prefer a pink highlighter. Because I don't want the shit yellow. Does anybody have anything else to share? Gosh, okay. Well, I love you all. Thank you, my co-hosts, for being on the show. Thank you for all the people watching. Please come back. We're going to go on Monday. I can keep generating topics, or do you guys want to?
I like you picking the topics,
It's been good so far.
Okay.
I like how you've been formatting them.
Yeah, I try to, I follow a logical flow. So I'll keep doing that as long as you guys are okay with it. All right, cool. Well, everybody go out there and do good things. Be safe. Don't get into trouble. Love each other. Do kind. Practice random acts of kindness. And we'll be back on Monday.
Get into good trouble, y'all. Good trouble.
Good trouble. Yeah, good trouble.